Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane Retro Super Friends Wave 2. We have Superman, Evil Superman, The Flash, Toyman, Captain Cold, and Cheetah. Some nice members for the heroes and the Rogues Gallery at the same time. I ordered the bundle from the McFarlane Toy Store. I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Nonstop Liz from Instagram for hooking me up with the Platinum Chase version of Superman. Of course, McFarlane sends the regular figures. You gotta find the Platinum on your own. I've actually seen these guys in stores numerous times, but I've only seen two at a time, both at Walmart and at Target. And I've seen Captain Cold, I think, every time, Cheetah and Toyman a couple times, but never Superman, nor The Flash, and I really wasn't looking for any of those guys, except for the Platinum Superman, which I have not seen once, so thanks again. Let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, Super Friends, McFarlane Toys, kind of done in the retro style. It's on a card back very similar to their 1966 Batman Classic TV series figures. We have Superman here. He's got a collector's card, a radio, and then a kryptonite ball and chain. Pretty interesting, cool accessory. On the back, you can see Super Friends, tons of different DC characters, and here's the barcode of Superman if it helps. Next, we have the Platinum Chase version of Superman. I do believe this is an Evil Superman, not Bizarro. McFarlane Platinum Edition. Same accessories. Kind of cool to have two of those kryptonite ball and chains. On the back, Super Friends, and his barcode, which I believe is going to be the same as the regular version. Next, we have Flash. Not 100% sure, but I'm guessing it's Barry Allen. McFarlane Toys. His barcode. He comes with simply a radio. He's the first Super Friends figure to not have two accessories. Kind of interesting. Now bring on the Rogues Gallery, Legion of Doom characters, Super Friends, Toyman, collector's card, and radio, and a little toy of Superman, which is such a cool accessory. In the back, of course, the Super Friends and Toyman's barcode. Next we have Captain Cold. He's got his freeze gun, collector's card, and radio. Captain Cold's barcode. And finally, we have Cheetah. I believe it's the first female in the entire line. Backside, there's her barcode. So with no further ado, let's open them up and check them out. Alright, now that we got these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. Each of the figures comes with both a radio and a collector's card, and most of them come with one additional accessory. In this video, we're going to take a look at each of the figures individually. We'll check out their accessories, height, and articulation, and we'll compare them with a bunch of other relevant figures. We'll go ahead and start off with Flash, then Superman, then Evil Superman, Captain Cold, Toyman, and Cheetah. Before we take a look at the figures, let's check out their collector's cards. Each of these 6 figures comes with a collector's card, although Superman and Evil Superman have the exact same collector's card, which is no surprise. Flash, Superman, Captain Cold, Toyman, Cheetah. You can see the front of the card, Super Friends. On the back, collect them all. We have an image of the 5 figures from this wave. Series 2. I figured on these figures, I would look at their articulation and their height, and just get knocked out real quick. Their articulation is rather basic. It's the same as the Batman Classic TV series line, and their height is more or less a 6-inch scale. So, Superman here about 6.1, Flash about 6.0, Captain Cold 6.1, Toyman about 6.2, maybe 6.3, and Cheetah about 6.1, 6.2 inches tall. And for their articulation, which is pretty much the same on each of the figures. So, the head is sort of on a ball joint, although it can really mostly just rotate from side to side. You can look up and down the tiniest little bit. It's a very large ball inside the head and doesn't give it a lot of wiggle room. Shoulders on a ball joint as well. They go up more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around. Single jointed elbow with rotation. His wrist can rotate. Torso is a solid piece. He's got a waist swivel. Old school style T-hips. They go forward about that far. Back, not very much. Single jointed knee, also with rotation. So here's Flash. This particular Flash is Barry Allen. He's in a pretty traditional Flash outfit, red with the yellow sort of lightning bolts around him. And he comes with one accessory, which is a radio to contact his fellow Super Friends. Let's take a closer look. So, his head looks pretty good. It's a regular Flash mask. Red sort of spandex mask wrapped around his head. You can see his mouth and nose. You can see some of the flesh around his eyes, and he has lightning bolts on the side of his head. As you go further down, lightning bolt across his chest. The Flash logo. Lightning belt and little, I don't know, bracelets or toughest gloves. And then tall yellow boots with lightning bolts on either side. Looks pretty good. The diaper area looks a little bit weird. I mean, it's probably some kind of reuse from the other figures, although I checked and it's not pure reuse from Superman. But it's exactly what you'd expect from sort of a basic retro line. I'm just happy they're 6 inches and not smaller, as I'm sure they were tempted to make this line. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Pretty basic, but exactly what you need and expect from a Flash figure. I think it looks pretty much exactly like it should. Flash here has one accessory. This is a little radio to contact the rest of the Justice League. It's got an antenna, a few little buttons, kind of a retro style. Now, that's one thing that each and every one of the characters in the Super Friends line has come with so far. A radio. Here's a look at the Flash holding and using that radio. Here's this McFarlane Super Friends Flash figure next to a couple of McFarlane DC Multiverse Barry Allen Flash figures. And here he is, next to a couple of DC Direct Flash figures. Then, with a couple of Mattel Flash figures. Next, with a Mezco Flash figure. So now let's look at Superman and Evil Superman. They come with 2 accessories, a radio, and then a kryptonite ball and chain, which is a kind of cool and kind of corny accessory at the same time. Both these figures are 100% the same sculpt, different paint job. We have regular Superman, who has his normal Boy Scout, happy-go-lucky look, and then the evil Superman in darker colors and has sort of evil-looking eyebrows. Now, upon first glance, I thought this Superman was Bizarro, but digging deeper, that is not the case. This is evil Superman from the Superman's TV show. When Superman was attempting to make Mount Vesuvius erupt, something similar was happening on Earth 1, and they sort of swapped places. According to Wikipedia, this evil Superman is also known as Ultraman, but I think that was never stated in the show, just sort of implied or assumed by some people. So, it's essentially a generic evil Superman. You could call him Ultraman, I guess, if you want to. So let's take a closer look. Start with his face. Like I said, we have the little spit curl. A traditional-looking Superman, kind of has a little bit of smile going on. Light blue, yellow, red, traditional Superman logo and outfit. The yellow belt, red trunks, etc. Of course, the same articulation we looked at earlier. The cape is a Superman logo on the back. It's rather basic, but it's normal cloth, not that sort of crappy sort of feeling stuff they made with the earlier Superpowers waves. So it's good, it's basic. I imagine it's probably the same body as the 1966 comic spin-off Superman figure they made. And then, of course, we have the evil Superman, which is really the exact same thing. His outfit is almost black. You know, I think it actually is black with a darker red. The Superman logo is not backwards like Bizarro, but he has these really crazy-looking eyebrows and red eyes. And then he does not have a smiling face, so looks like it is a different sculpt there, and I appreciate that. Yeah, the curl is a lot smaller as well. He also has the Superman logo on the back, and I think it's a pretty cool idea for a variant. I would love a 7-inch version of this guy. And a closer look at the good Superman's face and head sculpt. Like I said, that happy-go-lucky Boy Scout smiling face, but it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look campy or goofy. It looks pretty much exactly like I would expect it to look in this line, and not in a bad way, in a good way. And then the evil Superman, which looks fairly campy, almost like a guy in bad drag. I don't know. I definitely see what they're going for with the eyebrows, but does look kind of goofy and campy, but gets the point across that it's an evil version of Superman. And now for the accessories. They have the identical set of accessories. We have a radio, and normally the good guy radio and the bad guy radio look different, but this time they are the same. And then he has the kryptonite ball and chain, which is kind of a goofy accessory in itself. I mean, someone actually took the time to shave kryptonite down to a ball and chain. That seems ridiculous. But it can be kind of cool, and I'm sure it'll work with larger figures as well. And it is kind of cool to have 2 of them. Here's a look at both these Superman figures holding their radios. And here are both these Superman figures with the kryptonite ball and chain. And to look at the reuse differences and similarities between the Batman Classic TV Series comic spin-off version of Superman and the Super Friends animated version. And, as I expected, it is 100% the same figure. Well, the body anyway. Heads are different. You can see the torso, pants are the same. It does have a different left hand. The cape is definitely better on the new one, and everything else is the same sculpt. Like I said, it does not surprise me one bit, and doesn't really bother me one bit either. But now we have 3 of these sort of retro Superman figures, all done with the same base body. Here's the McFarlane Super Friends Superman, next to a couple of McFarlane DC Multiverse versions. And here, with a couple of DC Direct Superman figures, then with a couple of NECA Superman figures, next with a couple of Mezco Superman figures, and now with a couple of Mattel Superman figures, and with some Mafex Superman figures. And here's this evil Superman, or possibly Ultraman, next to a couple of McFarlane Ultraman figures. And now for Captain Cold, a member of the Flash Rogues Gallery, an ice villain. He comes with a freeze gun and a radio. In the Super Friends show, he had this blue face. I guess he's really, really cold. The signature blue glasses with little slits for the eyes. Signature costume with the white hood, the blue outfit. Sort of fake holster for his pistol. Same articulation, very basic. I mean, it looks good. The body is very sort of blocky and basic looking, but it's a decent head sculpt, although I was never a fan of the way the blue look that he had in the show. And now for a closer look at his face, hood, glasses, and head sculpt. It's probably the best thing about this figure is the head sculpt. It's pretty good. The rest is fairly basic. And for his accessories, he's got his red gun, which is really, really basic looking. And then the radio, which is more in line with the evil versions of radios from some of the other figures. It's basically a silver rectangle with 1 button on it. Here's Captain Cold holding that freeze gun. And then here, holding that radio. Here's McFarlane's Super Friends Captain Cold next to the McFarlane DC Multiverse Collector's Edition versions. The regular and the Planet of Chase version. The Planet of Chase version is actually based off the Super Friends cartoon, so kind of cool to see them staying nice to each other. And here's a look at absolutely all of my Captain Cold figures. Looks like one more to add to the collection. Here's the Super Friends Captain Cold next to the Batman Classic TV series Mr. Freeze. Both done in the same retro style and scale. Both Cold villains. Now for Toyman, done in the old school classic Jester style. He comes with a toy of Superman and the radio. So, like I said, he's got that weird sort of Jester hat sticking up on 3 different sides. White eyes, purple, and black sort of mask or hat. He's got yellow and black outfit, brown pants, blue or purple boots. You can kind of see the trunks because the legs are reused from another figure. That looks kind of bad, like his pants are all bunched up. But I do really like the head sculpt and hat. And speaking of, here's a closer look at his face, hat, and head sculpt. He's smiling, white eyes, Jester hat. It all looks pretty good. Looks like a classic version Toyman. And now for the accessories. First of all, we have this radio, similar to Captain Cold, rectangle with 1 button, although his seems a little bit less shiny. And then we have, and I think this is really cool, a little sort of toy of Superman, like a Superman doll for Toyman to hold, and that is just a lot of fun. Here's Toyman radioing the other villains, and then here, holding that Superman toy, which is a really, really fun accessory. Here's this Super Friends Toyman next to a DC Direct and Mattel Toyman figure. You can see the Mattel's based off the exact same look. And I've always been sort of a fan of Toyman. It's a cool sort of Joker-esque type character, and he specializes in toys and various gadgets. And here's the final figure. This is Cheetah. She only comes with the radio. Pretty cool cat-themed villain. She's in sort of a cheetah suit. See the mask on top of her. It's got brown spots all across the top, and those cat ears. Looks like she has a little bit of sort of claws on her hands. Tail with no articulation. Spots across her sort of shins and ankles. I like it. I've also been a fan of Cheetah for a long time. I always like when her and Catwoman and Catman team up. Cat-themed villains. And a closer look at her head and face sculpt, which I think looks pretty cool, pretty sinister, and pretty well done. Classic version of Cheetah. Another figure I really wish McFarlane made in the 7-inch line. Then, of course, we have her radio. Every single figure has a radio, good or bad. And I'm okay with that sort of consistency. Silver, shiny, one button. Here's Cheetah holding the radio. She doesn't have a gripping hand, so the best you can do is just lay it flat on her open hand like so. Here she is, next to a couple of DC Direct Cheetah figures. And here, with a Mattel DC Universe Classics Cheetah. I think they made 3 different versions. And I'm really surprised McFarlane didn't make Cheetah from Wonder Woman 1984. Here's a Super Friends Cheetah, next to the classic TV show Catwoman, a couple of cat-themed villains. Here's a look at the entire Wave 2 of Super Friends in the city streets. Hoping to see this collection grow and grow and grow, but it's possible this might be the last and final wave. I'd bet against that being the case, though. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures. Now, I think you have a pretty good idea how these guys fit in scale and style-wise with other action figure lines. We've checked them out with Mafex, Mattel, Mezco, DC Direct, NECA, McFarlane Toys. They're a little bit smaller, a little bit more basic, but they're still pretty cool. So here is Wave 2 of the McFarlane Super Friends action figure line. And here's Wave 1 of McFarlane's Super Friends action figures. Here are the Platinum figures from the Super Friends line. Batman and Superman are silver, and the Riddlers are red, the Platinum. Here are all the heroes from the Super Friends line. Robin and Wonder Woman are from the Batman classic TV series. They fit in good with these guys, and I imagine if McFarlane keeps going, they will sneak into the line soon. And here are all the villains in the Super Friends line. I had a Joker from the Batman classic TV show, because he really needs a representation with this group. So overall, I'd say it's a pretty cool wave of Super Friends figures. Their accessories, they're good, not great. I do really enjoy the Superman doll. Kind of like the Kryptonite Ball and Chain, even though it's campy. But I think Flash and Cheetah definitely should have come with something at least. Yes, I know they have the radio, but really who cares? Their articulation, it's basic but not horrible. Sculpt and paint job are a little bit better than basic, I'd say. And I'm happy they're 6-inch scale, although I would love them to be 7-inch. As far as which figure's my favorites, I'd say probably Toyman's my favorite, then Cheetah, then Captain Cold, and then probably Flash and the 2 Superman figures. I really like the Rogues. I think they're pretty cool and pretty fun. So I do really hope we get a Wave 3 of Super Friends, but time will tell. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.